Our good friends at Drafters Fantasy are giving away some free tickets. Hit some milestones, draft 10, 25, 50, a whole bunch of teams. You get a bunch of free tickets over at Drafters. So today, myself and Rob Coakley are going to see if we can't scoop some of those free tickets and draft a few Drafters teams while also, $500,000 to first. That'd be nice. Maybe we'll scoop that too. Let's do it. Rob, little special edition Saturday, Spike Week, Sicko, whatever. I don't want to steal your Sunday Sickos, but Saturday Sickos also has a nice ring to it. And it's specifically important today because we got 2 more days after today to scoop some free tickets over on Drafters. So shout out our good friend Pat Corrine and I pushed our Legendary Sickos recording. So that's going to happen on Monday. So we're filling in today. We're going to draft a couple teams, see if we can't win a little money while also scooping some free tickets along the way.
Yeah, sexy Saturday Sickos works because of the sexy teams we're going to draft. So that's
why I wore the tank top, and that's why I'm all sweaty sitting here. I wasn't watching Cops. I was walking the dogs, but also getting excited to draft some teams here. So I got nothing special to talk about. We can hop on in these drafts. I guess I should quickly go down. I did post this on social media. For those of you, that have never played on Drafters before, it is 20 rounds, full point PPR, cumulative scoring, right? So no week 17, no playoff stuff. Once you draft the team, once we draft these teams today, we compete against absolutely everybody in the entire tournament. How many are in there? Oh, 6. Perfect. Okay, go ahead and get in because I'm going to get in with you as well.
All right.
Perfect. So we're hopping in the $20. But if you have not played over on Drafters, highly recommend it. It's a ton of fun, great format, and you can get 100% deposit bonus up to $100 if you've never played there before. If you use code SPIKE, but then they're also giving away, like I said, these free tickets. That's kind of why Rob and I are drafting this.
Yeah. You muted for some reason there, Erik.
My mic went out, so if I'm talking into my AirPods here, I apologize. Let me fix it.
Yeah, you are. So I'll let you fix that. I will take over. Erik gets the 107. I get the 112. The 112 is one of my favorite places to draft from this year. I don't mind getting the back end of the draft. Let's see what's going on in the chat. AJ doesn't like my hat because he's a Lakers fan, and it sucks to be the second best team in NBA history versus the Celtics.
I'm rocking a Raptors hat today in memoriam of firing their general manager the day after the NBA draft. Like, what God. In the fuck? Like, so either you had no idea what you were doing, and you let the guy run the draft that you were going to fire anyway, or you just denoted that this guy's draft was so fucking bad that you were like, enough is enough, man. You did our entire offseason work. And now just go fuck off. We're gonna give the team to somebody else. So the poor beloved Raptors. I'm a like pseudo Raptors fan because they had the coolest jerseys back when we were younger, and I was a diehard Vince Carter fan. He's one of my favorite basketball players ever. And so it's just been a total disaster for the Raptors. So we're celebrating. I guess not celebrate. We're mourning Masai Ujiri being so bad at his job. He gets fired after the draft.
Yeah. For Facebook, which is a weird username, is asking, do you think a new $2 draft will come back? I would say you should probably bet that will happen, and I would
100%.
assume relatively soon.
And they may do a Superflex first. They did a Superflex, I think it was a $2 or $5 something last year. So they may do something like that and then come back for a $2. But I think you can positively say there's going to be another $2, if not multiple more.
$2. Yeah, for sure. They did a couple last year. There was a couple different $2, which is a hell of an entry point. And what I say every year is, if your friends are looking to get into best ball, I don't think there's a better tournament to start getting acquainted with the game of best ball than the $2 Drafters tournament. there's a lot less variables. It's just it's full point PPR, which I think everybody knows now. And it is cumulative scoring. So some of the playoff nuance stuff just isn't there. So I think it's a great tournament for everybody, for newcomers, for, veterans, for bad basketball players like myself and Erik.
Exactly.
You are on the clock at the 107.
Let's see here. I've been doing so much Puka and Nico and these guys. I'll sprinkle a little Gibbs for some fun.
Just so everyone's aware, it's my stream.
The Cavs. Yeah, we're sharing Rob's screen. Don't besmirch me for his shitty exposures, please.
After my picks, I will show what my percentages are for those that haven't watched a Sunday stream. What I have on the screen currently from my stuff for my overlay. I have a very very specific draft strategy I've been doing in the majority of my drafts, which is just trying to get unique early and then sort of just riding the draft from there. So that's probably something that we will do.
Great thing to do on Drafters. Also just wanted to shout I don't think while you make your picks, I don't honest to God think there's any reason to ever do a mock draft ever again. It's no offense. I understand it was a big deal. I used to read them, right? You'd get your magazine or whatever. I really wanted to see what Matthew Berry and all the sharp people in the industry were doing with their, with these mock drafts. But again, with something like the $2 tournament on Drafters, there's just no reason, I know it doesn't 1-to-1 always correlate to your home league, but I think that's good. I think it's going to show you here's what sharp players who have drafted thousands and thousands of there's been in the six figures of drafts will be done on Drafters here very soon. There's so much power behind these drafts to see where people are actually taking these players. So you go to your home league, right, and it's really easy to take advantage of your home league buddies. Just do spend $10, right? Don't get coffee 1.5 times or whatever in a month and draft 10 teams on Drafters, and you're so equipped, so much better equipped than your home league mates. I just there's so many great applications for it.
I completely agree with that. I took Brian Thomas and then grabbed Garrett Wilson with him. We are projecting.
It's not great. I'm not enjoying what's left on the board here. I'm gonna do Rice, but I do already have a good clip of Rice with Gibbs. But some of that was I would pull Gibbs up and get Rice at the 2-3. Rice was much cheaper not that long ago, and the sickos on Drafters have ruined that ADP for us quick, fast, and in a hurry to the middle of the second round.
Yes. Here is an example of never let your girlfriend find out about your draft streams because they will come troll you.
Oh, my wife still doesn't know. We've been together for 10 years. She's very curious of why I'm constantly down in the basement. It can't be anything good, but she hasn't asked yet, and it's much worse than she probably would. If she truly didn't know, she's like, "Why are you down in the basement all this time?" And I'm like, "I can't tell you." You would think it would be really dark, but this is somehow worse. Talking about fantasy football year round, drafting 2025 fantasy football teams before the 2024 Super Bowl. I think it's it's a bleak place to be.
She's like, I'd rather you were just watching X-rated movies. What is this? Let's go over my percentages on let's go over my draft hacker is what I should be saying. So the first percentage you see on my screen is my tourney percentage. So what I have for that player in this particular tournament. Then it's that player with my first quarterback drafted, which is going to be all zeros right now because I haven't drafted a quarterback yet. Then it's that player with my round 1 pick, then with my round 2 pick. And then what I love, the last two, it shows that player's projected ownership with the round 1 selection and with the round 2 selection. So I grabbed Brian Thomas, and what I did was I scrolled down a bit, and I saw that Garrett Wilson is projecting 0% ownership with Brian Thomas Jr. And I was like, well, I guess I got to get one of those teams to make sure that I have it. And there's a few different leverage points on this too. It's not just getting Brian Thomas and Garrett Wilson. I think Brian Thomas is projected to be paired with Trevor Lawrence like 34% of the time. So now this gives me a stack leverage as well, right? Because now I have a Trevor Lawrence, Brian Thomas team that a third of the field has, but I have the most unique version of it in order to combat them. So that's another reason why I like doing it, because it's like, even if you're taking overweight stacks, you're still providing leverage against that. So that is 100%. What I'm trying to do. So more
to answer Chris's question, there is no special weekend promo this weekend, but you have until the end of Monday, until June 30th, to hit those milestones. So it is, I knocked my damn mic out of my or knocked the cord out of my mic, getting excited to talk about the milestones earlier. So while Rob is picking, for every one of the milestones that you hit it before the end of Monday, you get 2 free tickets. And so those milestones, 10, 25, 50, 75, I believe 100. If you get to 100, you get 4 free tickets into this tournament. And then if you are somehow going to max it by Monday, which would be incredible, right? And so those compound. You get to 10, you get 2. You get to 25, you get 2. You get, so you can get up to 12 free tickets by Monday if you do 100 drafts. If you're a total sicko and you do all 150, you get all 12 of those free tickets, right? So you're only going to pay for 138 of your drafts. They'll also give you $300, and they'll ship you a nice free T-shirt as well. Who doesn't love a free T-shirt? So there's just like a ton of perks available on Drafters.
And if it's $300 in site credit, that's, you can max a $2 tournament.
Exactly. So the next $2, you get the whole thing for free. They'll also launch a higher stakes. Last year they called it the high roller, which was a $250 entry. If you want to dabble in that, right, you can get it paid for free. So there's a lot of free money. Shout out to our good friends at Drafters, because they do some of these. They'll do some more of this also. So if you did only want to do 100 or 50 or 75 or whatever, I think that's totally understandable and fair, because they'll, in August, September, they'll do some free ticket giveaways over the weekends sometimes.
I am gonna give us some drafting music very low behind us. But yeah, I think I'm just trying to get to 50. I'm at 45 right now, so I'm gonna hit that.
I'm only at 22. I'm trying to decide if I'm gonna go for 50. But I'm saying that because Shubi brings it up here. You slow drafts count,
right?
If you enter slow, so that's what I'm thinking about. I'm thinking about doing, because I did in the $2. I did a bunch of slows. I did like maybe 85 or 90 in the $2 or something like that, but it was mostly slows. So I don't really have $20 slows going a couple. So like my $2 are going to start to finish.
Yeah.
Right. And so I can like just backfill with the $20 if I do that. But I would get to 50. I think 50 would be my goal if I did that.
I think that's my one mistake this draft season so far, is I was focusing on this tournament and some single entry stuff, and I just sort of overlooked that $2 tournament and didn't really watch the fill rate on it. I should have fired some slows into that. As much as I'm not like a slow drafter, tournaments like that you should just probably just fire at.
Zeus refuses to be in slow draft hell. Yeah, the $2 was just like, I'm mad I didn't max it, but I was trying to Zeus's point, I was trying to manage slow draft hell, because I'm also doing the Superflex puppy on Underdog, which I'm almost done with. And they've been like 98% slows. And then I've been doing a bunch of slows on DraftKings as well. Every time DraftKings comes out with a new, like the $10 5 max or whatever, like I just instantly go toss slows in for there. So it's been I've been feeling some of the dregs of slow draft hell a little bit. So I've been trying not to overextend myself, but I am already like kicking myself for not doing the full one. Like $300 for 150 is just sick, with $10,000 up top. It's awesome.
Yeah. And it's time boxed essentially too. You bastard.
Like a couple weeks. It fills in a couple weeks. Yeah. I love that I'm now the one taking Juwan Jennings after last year. But something actually tangible for when I do take a Gibbs or something, a first round running back, I'm really cognizant of the types of wide receivers that I take. So like I'm fully willing to accept this part as part of my portfolio. The Rices, the Tyreek Hills, like DJ Moore's very boom busty, but the Niners guys, just like betting on, like, no offense, Terry McLaurin, like no offense, even like Devontae, who I very much like, but T Higgins, like the guys who like can be good fantasy assets, but are just like probably not going to be, you know, like Tyreek Hill was a top 5 pick last year. Like Rashee Rice was the wide receiver 2 in fantasy, you know, before he got hurt, wide receiver 2 in yards per route run, right? Like DJ Moore, if he's still good, and Caleb, like I'm betting on these like really like high upside, but also really low floor guys when I take that early running back, because that's the opposite of what everybody else does, right? If you go running back heavy early, they're like, give me Jerry Jeudy, give me Cortland Sutton, give me Jacoby Myers, and I'm like, fuck that, give me Ricky Pearsall and give me DJ Moore, you know, and give me those guys and take the swings when I do go with an early running back.
I don't want to talk about double tapping New Orleans Saints players in the 5th and 6th round.
I think we have to shut this stream down.
It was gross. I almost went RJ Harvey, but I'm like, you know what? Let's get the Kamara value. Let's do it with Olave once, and now I'll never do it again.
I like it. I mean, I like your team. I took Kamara yesterday, and we're was it yesterday or Thursday? Anyway, we're turning into a Saints channel. And this
we can't do that.
2 days in a row, we've drafted Alvin Kamara and like a Saints stack on here. I did Shaheed, not Olave, though I like Olave. I still haven't done the Tyler Shuck thing. So if we reach that point, I think it's, you know, it's been a good run for 5 years here at Spike Week. Once we reach the Tyler Shuck stage of drafting, I think it's over.
I can talk myself into Olave and Kamara producing. I can't talk myself into the entire team producing.
No.
Oh my god, I'm still baffled by the Derek Carr stuff. There had to be some backroom deals there, because there's no way he just retired and wasn't getting paid.
Yeah, AJ, it is Tyler Shuck. It's either, and if it's not Tyler Shuck, it ain't better. Okay,
it ain't better.
Then it's Spencer Rattler, and we saw that experiment last year, and holy shit, it was not pretty. But yeah, Derek Carr. One of the weirder situations in recent NFL like history. I feel like just like up and like he's got to be getting like, do they give him like ownership stake in the team or something? Like, you know what I mean? Like, why would he just step away? I guess, you know, the truth, it could be the truth, but I find that hard to believe, you know, like he would just completely walk away from all that money. And I don't know,
30 million or
it's a lot of money, man.
It was a lot of money. I'm like, there's no way, dude. Like I would crawl onto the field, and they would have to they would have to pull me off the field.
I'll go out there in a fucking wheelchair for 30 million. You know what I mean? Like, like this is gonna suck. Here comes Myles Garrett, and I'm in a wheelchair in the pocket. But like, you're just imagine the money, dude. Just think about the bank account. That's it.
Yeah, there's just no way I just can't imagine it. It's just so weird. But what else?
What do you think about the for Best Ball? I assume this is for Facebook that changed its name to For Best Ball. That's so funny and awesome. I love it. But our elite onesies more important, like on Drafter, right? In cumulative, in no playoff meaning cumulative scoring. What do you think about the elite onesies?
I mean, I think like in general, they're probably more important for the cumulative scoring, but the counterpoint to that, and I'm going to bring this up 50 more times this year, our narrative changes if Josh Allen had that 50-point game in week 16 or 17 last year. Like, it's just like, that's just something that no one else like can do other than like 3 or 4 guys. And it's going to be, if you didn't have, and you would just be hearing about it, if you didn't have Josh Allen, you weren't advancing. So he would have been back to the second round, probably early second round. It's probably cumulative, but I think there's going to be years that it's actually playoff. And I'm not trying to hedge my bet there, But we're going to see those years. These guys are going to have those breakout games when it matters.
Yeah. I actually don't think that there's necessarily right or wrong on. I think they're good, right? I think the answer is that elite onesies are good. Period. It's really going to depend upon what happens cheaply at the position. It's really not about. I mean, it is a little, right? Like if Bowers and McBride just stink or Josh Allen gets hurt, like of course that's different. But it's so much more about what happens cheaply at the position, right? Like, can you replicate, with 2 or 3 cheap quarterbacks, what Josh Allen or Lamar, do over the course of the season well enough? And then, like, does it layer together? Some of that is just totally unpredictable. Would you rather have last year Baker, Geno, and who, I don't know. I can't think of another guy who was a pretty good hit as a late quarter. Darnold, right? Like, would you rather have Darnold, Baker, Geno last year or a second round Josh Allen? Well, probably that. But like this year, is it going to be Tyler Shuck and Russell Wilson, and Aaron Rodgers? I'm not so sure that it is. Same thing at tight end, right? Like Bowers can go scorched earth, but if Jake Ferguson and Isaiah Likely and Mike Gesicki are like awesome and blend together well, you probably still rather have that. It's really difficult. Like both have won. Essentially, a solo Jalen Hurts team won a couple of years ago. Yeah. Zach Wilson was the only other quarterback on the Jalen Hurts team, so it was the equivalent. And this is the year Zach Wilson got benched with the Jets. It was the equivalent of a solo Jalen Hurts team, but he was just so good all year, and there wasn't anything cheap that was like groundbreaking. So he was like a cheat code.
He was like a cheat code, and I think he missed games. And that team still won.
Like the final two or three, like he missed like 2 or 3 games, and the Jalen Hurts, Zach Wilson team won the whole thing. Little Mahomes. I don't have much Patrick Mahomes.
So Eric's team right now is Gibbs, Rashee Rice, Tyreek Hill, DJ Moore, Juwan Jennings, RJ Harvey, David Montgomery, and Patrick Mahomes for that Kansas City stack. I have Brian Thomas, Garrett Wilson, George Kittle, Josh Allen, Chris Olave, Alvin Kamara, Judkins, and Cooper Kupp currently. And I'm fine with it so far. I don't love the New Orleans double tap.
I don't think anybody ever does.
But occasionally you have to do things you don't like in best ball. Otherwise, you have the same team every single time you draft.
Yeah. That's why I haven't done much. I had 6% Gibbs here on Drafters, and I'll probably settle in the 8 to 10 range, like across my whole portfolio. But I haven't done much DMOT with him, and I actually kind of think it's still an interesting way to play the Lions, where we're still kind of expecting the offense to be the same, and it probably will be, but also I truly believed last year, and I think it proved correct, that the defense is going to be much better and was much better last year. But then they suffered all those injuries, right? Hutchinson and like all their DBs went down. I think they'll bounce back on the defensive side, which is maybe a little bit tougher for like an Amon-Ra, who's a really volume-based round 1 wide receiver. Like he's really good, but I think we could see even a little bit more to the running back. So I'm not totally opposed to both of them together on the same team.
Yeah. We have a question in chat asking, would we stop at 2 QB tight ends? And if so, does that help by getting an extra wide receiver and or a running back? And again, not an easy to answer question. It's really dependent on comfort level, draft capital, especially, I think is the number one thing. Like I've drafted Josh Allen on this team. There's no way I'm drafting 3 quarterbacks by any means, even if Tyler Shuck was my second quarterback. I'm just never putting a third on a team with Josh Allen.
I do also think 2 quarterbacks can be even a little bit better for the cumulative scoring format, because when you hit on a Baker Mayfield, on a Jalen Hurts, on a Josh Allen, there's a compounding effect, right, to the whole season, and you want to use that hit and maximize that hit at the quarterback position about as much as you can. And then the thing that I will just continue to keep saying is, like you said, it's draft capital related. It's all, there's a little bit of vibes, right? There's not like a hard and fast rule. Your perception, Rob, or for best ball, or we see Miles and Josie in the chat, all the people, we're all gonna have slightly different lines, right? Like I'm probably a lot more comfortable with some 2 quarterback rooms that other people aren't, but the premise is still the same for all of us. If I spent a bunch at the position, right, define a bunch, that's up to all of us. If you draft Josh Allen, that's a bunch, right? You spend a bunch of auction dollars on that guy. Once you've spent real capital at the position, I then don't want to also spend real quantity at the position. And that's just that's best ball in a nutshell. If somebody wants to know about like roster construction and draft strategy, I'm like, that's it. That's all you got to know. If you drafted high quality and spent a lot of money on it, don't take a bunch of them. And if you didn't really spend a bunch of money on it, take a bunch of them, because you need to hit, you need more bullets in the chamber to find quality with a lack of, or with a high quantity. So it's just best ball 101. I think some of the quarterback conversation, while fair and valid, and we're always looking for ways to get better, I think is missing a little bit of like the core principles of how we draft.
I completely agree. And that just goes right into Miles' question where he says, a lot of touts have been suggesting 3 quarterbacks, even on elite quarterback builds. What do we think of that? I just think it's overall bad. Like, I think you're doing it at the expense of other stuff. And the reason you're doing it, the reason it's being touted from my understanding is because it helps to minimize zeros in the back end of the draft. But like, that's what we're looking to get our edge at the back end of the draft right now because of the uncertainty, knowing that we're going to end up taking zeros, knowing that teams are going to die. We know that we're only looking to get 1 or 2 teams through on everything, whether it's cumulative or whether it's playoff. That's inconsequential. You're looking to build one team that's just absolutely insanely good. I would almost argue if you were going to do it, and I still wouldn't do it, it would be better to do it later in the season when the player pool shrinks.
Definitely.
Right? Like, because then your player pool is so much smaller anyways. So I just wouldn't do it on either, but I just think that the logic behind it, just it's playing scared. And if you go back to my 7-minute video about shooting for top 1% outcomes from a week or 2 ago, it's the equivalent of just trying to min cash a poker tournament. But the difference is, even there, when you min cash a poker tournament, at least you're doubling your money. You don't do that in best ball until you get to like very specific tiers of caching. So like, it's even worse in best ball than it is in like a poker tournament. So
it's also, you get your money back, the same day or the same week, as opposed to the next goddamn calendar year. in best ball.
Yeah.
Let's if I'm gonna, right, like, put your money in a CD if you're like I gotta get my 0.5%, right, or your savings account or your whatever, like your mutual fund. Like if you're worried about your risk of ruin, best ball is probably not the greatest game for you, because you're investing in a very high risk stock that is almost assuredly going to go down, right? You put $100 in, you're probably not going to get $100 back in best ball. That's just the rules and the parameters of the game. So when I do that, I need to have the upside to offset the likely scenario in which I'm going to have less money in 9 months or 6 months.
Yeah, and to the point of it can probably diversify you, because most elite quarterback builds are stopping at 2. I don't think that's correct in terms of most are stopping at 2. And B, I just think there's so many other ways to diversify your team. Yeah. We showed it on this one. I have a Brian Thomas, Garrett Wilson start, which no one would bat an eye at, but yet it's not getting drafted, right? So you could just do it so many different ways. Oh, man. Trevor Lawrence got taken already.
I saw that.
This is the other part of the drafts this year. It's just like rounds 10 and 11. It looks like someone just shoots at them.
Yeah.
With all this red that we see.
It's a bunch of dog shit picks, and then the quarterbacks. Is like, if you had to sum up the 10th round, I'm like, well, a bunch of guys nobody wants and a bunch of awesome fucking quarterbacks in the 10th round.
Yeah. I want to go back to the Lions in a second after my picks because there's something I want to do with the Lions, but I'm having a really difficult time. Oh, God damn it. And Herbert goes. All right. So
that was a hell of a quarterback run from your Scattaboo pick to this. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I think we're going to have to
10 quarterbacks in 24 picks. Holy shit, man. 23 picks.
Have to grab Ray Davis for the stack. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to grab Kincaid, who I have not drafted with Garrett Wilson at all yet. But I get my Buffalo stuff together, and I'll just figure it out from there.
I like Kincaid on the on Bills bets, particularly obviously pass game. Allen bets is like it's very, very clear how Kincaid is like a total smash, right? Because he earns targets when he's on the field. He's actually been like, we dunk on him, not quite like Kyle Pitts, right? But like a little bit, where it's like he's a little bit of a meme. First round tight end that we've been overdrafting for multiple seasons. And it's like, honestly, when he's on the field, he's been kind of good, and he definitely earns targets when they throw him the ball, when he runs routes. It's just that he doesn't run that many routes. So you're like, well, if they pass more and he's supposedly bulked up and worked on his blocking, if that stuff is real, then, he could definitely be a great pick, I think.
All right. I guess we're doing this today. WOC says it's why you have to have a mix of 2 and 3 quarterback builds. If you have 15 Josh Allen lineups, then 7 of those should be 2 QB, and then mix 2 and 3 tight ends. You're protecting yourself in the end. I don't want to protect myself is the point I'm making. I'm not shooting for protection. I'm shooting to win. And I think that you are actually creating a negative subset of teams when you're doing multiple 3 quarterback builds with guys like Josh Allen and Hurts and Lamar Jackson. You are not adding a ton of points with that third quarterback, hardly ever. If they get hurt, your team's dead anyways. Like, we're just, yeah, exactly. We prefer to draft raw, as Shuby says. I just think it's bad. And that, to that effect, like 15, if you're doing 2 quarterbacks, you're not even getting every combination of 2 quarterbacks with Josh Allen at that point. So like, what are we even talking about? It just drives me.
I was gonna bring that up. If you think that you should draft 3 quarterbacks, right, more frequently than say you or I do, or you should draft 3 quarterbacks sometimes with Josh Allen, the only pushback I would have like on that specific comment is nothing in like that was just a rule for making a rule's sake. There was no like tangible like right. So again, take a step back and think about your best ball teams. They're telling a story, right? It's super cheesy, but it's true. How the fuck is this thing going to win? Right? When you finish the draft, you don't just go through and just pick your favorite players the whole time. The whole thing is like, okay, what path did I get myself to winning? What has to happen in the season for me to win? If you're just making a rule and say, well, I think half my Josh Allen teams need to be 3 quarterback. Why? What if he gets hurt? Well, guess what? You lost. On to the next. Then you don't want him. Right? On the team, like draft Lamar then, right? It's like you're going to have a natural attrition on teams. You shouldn't play to protect teams. You should play to build a portfolio that says, I know a lot of these things are going to go wrong, but I'm also going to have the things that are going to go right. And that's the team that's going to win me all the money. Like, don't worry about the ones that go wrong because most of your teams, it's going to go wrong, man. Like, I hate to tell you, the most beautiful team you've ever drafted that you think is super safe, those 3 quarterbacks, they all could get fucking hurt, right? They could all get hurt.
Yeah, it goes back to that point. It goes back to Corain's team that he won with. He would have never picked that team out of all the 150 teams he drafted. That would have probably been bottom 3rd.
It also got second in its original pod.
Right.
Snuck through on what, a Tyquan Thornton long touchdown in week 16 or something like that. Like, it wasn't, he didn't even give a shit about that team. He won $30 million with it.
So it's not about, it's just about, I don't need to keep making this point. I am about the draft. I get flustered. I get upset. I don't actually get upset. So who makes?
I do like this good takes. I do think you'll see some people do like double elite at positions, And I think you could make some crazy case. And it's just the problem with the playoff format, but also the beauty of the playoff format is you can come up with any story that tells, why did you spend your first 2 picks on tight end, right? Or why did you draft both Lamar and Josh Allen on the same teams? Like, well, I can tell this story, right, about how there's this ping, right? We use the phrase ping pong effect like all the time. It's like, well, they're going to ping pong, right? Or he's going to miss a game. I can always tell that story in the playoff format. So that becomes a little bit trickier to dissect. But on drafters, in the marathon, on fast draft, the cumulative scoring formats, I think double elite is pretty rough because you're losing points in the flex basically from that point. You're all and the flex, it sounds like one position, but it's really 6 positions, right? There's a trickle until you get to the flex. And you can say, sure, Trey McBride and Brock Bowers could technically hit the flex. That is technically true, but you don't want that because even as good as they are, they're still not scoring as much as the highest scoring wide receivers and running backs.
Yeah, I've dabbled with double elite quarterback builds. If I'm doing them, I prefer doing them in playoff formats. It always feels like it just takes too much away from a cumulative scoring team.
Yeah, every time.
Just every time. It actually goes sort of to my Detroit point that I want to make, where it's not even about the quarterbacks. Like, I want to play Detroit, and who I really have been wanting to get more of is Laporta. But because of where he goes, I feel like I always need to be drafting either like my 4th wide receiver or whatever, or sometimes my 1st or 2nd running back at that point in time to build the rosters that I want to build. So I have a little bit of trouble grabbing him in this range, even though I want more of him. So I'm going to try to be making it a point in the future to get more Laporta across everything.
He's a nice fit on it's a perfect segue into this question about in cumulative scoring, do you have a max stack number different? So first of all, here's the other thing I'll tell you. We haven't quite figured out the naming stuff in the best ball world. So playoff best ball is a different thing than playoff formats in best ball. And I know that's stupid. And I tried to explain it to my wife. I guess I just gave away my joke because she clearly does know that I do best ball stuff. But I tried to explain the difference between playoff best ball and the best ball playoffs like a million times. And she's like, that's stupid. You realize that, right? And I'm like to me, it just like, I'm just like, yeah, it's the best ball playoffs, not playoff best ball. And she's like, that you guys are nuts. That's so stupid. And it is incredibly stupid. So I just wanted to let you know for best ball that that's just something to keep in mind there. God damn, all the tight ends I wanted went off the board.
There's a good tight end run that goes on around this point.
I'm taking my Diami and Shipley, typical 14 15 pound picks. But do I have a max stack number? No, I do not. I will say I don't want to draft 8 dudes from the same NFL team, but it's kind of similar to what we talked about with like the roster construction type stuff or 2 QB versus 3. It's a little feel based. I am a big proponent of kind of like mega stacking, onslaughting, overstacking, whatever. See, another name we haven't all fucking figured out what we should call it, but like mega stacking in offense, quarterback, 2 pass catcher, 2 wide receivers, the tight end, and like the backup running back. But I say the backup running back part because that's where price matters. And I think the biggest mistake you can do is taking especially the chalky, really expensive, like you'll see people take Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and Chase Brown with their first 3 picks. And I think that's bad. Not only because you're spending all of your draft capital on one offense, but you're doing something that also isn't even it's not even like a unique way to build a team. It's actually quite popular. So thinking about price, thinking about how popular this thing is, and then thinking about, your own kind of take. Are you comfortable with like 4 or 5 guys from an offense? It's totally fine. If you want to limit it down to like quarterback plus 2, I think that's fine also. All right. Oh, Alec Pierce comes back. Hey.
Yeah, I was flirting with taking Alec Pierce, but I felt like I had to go double RB at this.
I needed some juice. I needed some spike week upside at wide receiver because I want a little more running back-ish. And then I've always felt that like I took Mahomes and Purdy, right? I took I took Gibbs and then to a lesser extent Harvey. But so running back in round 1, running back in round 6, and then 8 and 10 are quarterbacks. And it's like the wide receiver starts to feel a little bit gross. So I like the Alec Pierces and stuff of the world in that range. And then like I know my late wide receivers are going to be, like rookie fucking flyers or shitty veterans, like the shitty version of Alec. So what, MVS, the shitty version of Alec Pierce, right? Like in the last round. So I need some Diami and Alec Pierce and stuff in my life.
Yeah, I've been getting some more Alec Pierce as well. Great point by Billy. Said if your Josh Allen lineup needs the third quarterback, chances are you lost anyway, which is just a phenomenal way to put it.
Mm-hmm. Particularly in cumulative. Like I said, I can understand, though I don't agree with taking a third quarterback on a Josh Allen team. In a playoff format, I'll listen to your story. But in cumulative, it's like, well, you're like, well, he got hurt. He got hurt for a month. It's like, you have a second quarter. No one's saying draft only Josh Allen. You have another guy. He can bide your time for that month while Josh Allen's out. And if you're like, well, what if he misses the whole season? Then you fucking lost.
You're dead.
Focus on your non-Josh Allen teams now.
Yeah.
Right? Like focus on the 90% of your teams that don't fucking have Josh Allen and your 80% that don't have a Buffalo Bill. Because like they're in good shape now, right? We forget that too. Where it's like, if Josh Allen goes down, stop trying to recover that Josh Allen team. Build your other teams to take advantage of what happens when Josh, right? Now you got 2 QB teams with 2 healthy guys and you're playing against a bunch of Josh Allen teams and a bunch of Bills stacks, and right? And it's like, now take advantage of it. You want to win with the rest of your teams, not try to salvage the Josh Allen team. Like throw that shit in the garbage and try to, find the winners amongst the rest that are left.
So do you remember that team that Pete and I drafted? It was a high stakes team that was just like absolutely ripping souls out throughout the season.
Yes, I do.
It just was like crazy. That was a 3 quarterback team. It was Hurts. It was that same year that the Hurts solo won.
Yeah.
But we took Zach Wilson and Ryan Tannehill on that team. And all 3 were out for week 16.
And you didn't have a quarterback, right? And you took 3.
Yeah, and we still almost advanced to the finals with it. And my thought, and like all I think about when I think about that particular team is we took 3.
Is not drafting quarterbacks that got hurt.
Well, not even that.
You guys should have tried that out.
Well, it's not even that. It's we wasted 3 picks on quarterbacks. Well, wasted 1 theoretically. Let me make my picks real quick. Did Iomanor go? Oh my God, you sickos!
Who is that in the 101?
Absolute sickos.
Shuby. It's Shuby.
Yeah, it's Shuby.
Every time. Dude, no joke. Every single time I look up and like I'm on a stream and somebody I'm like, who took Shipley? Who took Diami? Who took Iomanor? Who took this? And I'm like, fucking Shuby. How? Every time? How is he doing this to me? Every draft? Seriously? I think it was Lawrence. He did it like Lawrence to me yesterday or something. I'm just like, God damn it, Shuby. Stay away. Go draft with the running back bros or something. Get out of here. Get out of here.
So the Hurts thing, I sat there thinking about it and I'm like, if we drafted Hurts to be an elite quarterback and we fell so far off on getting our second quarterback that we felt like we needed to draft 2, I feel like we should have just taken Minshew behind him that year.
That's an interesting idea. Mm-hmm.
Right. And it's like, well, if I'm just saying, like, if I'm so far behind it, like, so like this team, if I have Josh Allen, if it came to Tyler Shuck, like, does it just make more sense to take, I don't even know who Josh Allen's backup is right now, but like, I have to think about it more, but
it's not still Trubisky, is it? I should know this because I went through this exercise for this Superflex contest. I just don't remember who it is. Thank God somebody took Mason Taylor.
It is Trubisky. Oh, well, it's Trubisky or Mike White.
What's the fucking difference?
Right, but at the point, like, at least I'm scoring points, right? Like,
I'm with you. It makes sense, right? They can all easily get hurt, right? If the thesis of the play is I need to cover for if something happens to Josh Allen, the only way to guarantee that you're actually going to cover for something happening to Josh Allen is by drafting his backup.
Yeah.
Right. It's the only, and I mean, there's still nothing is a certainty. Certainly not in football. We're modern. It's modern day fucking gladiator shit on the football field. So like anybody can get hurt. But if honestly, if you want to take 3 with Josh Allen and your whole thing is like, well, he has a bad game or he gets hurt or I want to guarantee myself this, because then you're not losing the correlation aspect of it, where you're like, if Josh Allen goes down, this is hurting I have Kincaid or I have Ray Davis or I have Shakir or I have Keon or whatever on the team. It's like, well, God damn it, Shuby. I was literally planning this whole fucking thing around Harold Fannin.
You can't get Fannin anymore. You can't. I tried the last 7 drafts. You can't get
I've been screaming about Harold Fannin from the mountaintops since fucking February, and I have like 5% because he's just never goddamn around at ADP. But anyway, I think it's an interesting idea, right? If the whole thesis of the play, because if Trubisky comes in and the Bills' offense is still good, which I'm not saying that it would be, but like Tanner McKee would be a good example to me of Jalen Hurts, right? Jalen Hurts goes down. Tanner McKee's like a good football player, and he can get the ball to AJ Brown and Devontae Smith. So now you covered that Jalen Hurts week, and honestly, McKee is like probably not that different for AJ Brown than Jalen Hurts is with just the general passing upside. I think those are some of the things that I would think about.
And I'm not saying to like draft Josh Allen and then immediately think through that.
No,
I think it's a break glass in case of emergency situation. If you're looking at Russell Wilson and Tyler Shuck and trying to figure out some of these like really bottom end quarterbacks because you missed on everybody, then there's that. You also get a little bit of like week 17 leverage if they are starting to sit players as well, which I wouldn't even be counting on that, but it's just another like little wrinkle to it.
The year you're talking about, Lawrence sat out week 16.
Yeah.
When you were talking about that year, and then because I remember I made a couple of I had a good year that year. I think that was the Howell year. Yeah. Anyway, that might have been the Kyron Puka year. Anyway, it's really not important. But I remember getting to multiple finals with Hurts Lawrence teams, and just being like, what the fuck? Like my team is awesome, just like you guys. The team is awesome, and the third quarterback wasn't going to save it, probably because I needed that, that 17th round pick to be something. There's just so much chaos that the backup thing is semi interesting to me.
Yeah. Again, I'd be doing it on a minimal amount of teams. I just think it's just like a leverage play. I'd rather do that than 3 quarterbacks, 3 with 2 like just back end garbage QBs. While we're waiting for Eric to make his last pick, my team is Josh Allen, Cam Ward. I got a huge Buffalo stack here. Alvin Kamara, Judkins, Scatterbo, Ray Davis, Jarquez Hunter, Justice Hill, Jordan James, who I'm trying to get a little bit more of as well. If I'm not drafting CMC, I think I should be leveraging him with both Jordan James, as well as, it's drawing a blank. Who's the other running back? The main Garendo, yes.
Who I drafted.
Yep. And then my wide receivers are Brian Thomas, Garrett Wilson, Chris Olave, Cooper Kupp, Rashad Bateman, Josh Palmer, Tyler Lockett, A.D. Mitchell, Elijah Moore, George Kittle, and Dalton Kincaid. I'm trying to get Elijah Moore exposure now. It's not really my favorite type of player, but I think we're going to get a lot of camp hype on him, and I think he's going to move up. And Eric's team is Gibbs, Rashee Rice, Tyreek Hill, DJ Moore, Juwan Jennings, RJ Harvey, David Montgomery, Patrick Mahomes, Trey Harris, of course, Brock Purdy, Tyler Warren.
I got to get somebody I like on this fucking team.
Tootin, Garendo, Shipley, Diami, Alec Pierce, Tutu, Chig, Cowing, which is interesting. I like that pick. And Higbee. I should be adding more Cowing into my team.
I'm just sprinkling a little bit of Cowing. I happen to have obviously Purdy and Juwan. Just a bet against IU. which we recently got. Shout out Jeff Mueller. I'm not sure how you pronounce his last name. Sorry, Jeff. But mentioned that we finally got some word that maybe the Ayuk thing was a little bit. I'm hopping into. I assume we're doing another. Correct?
Yeah, you want to jump in right now?
Yeah, let's just jump in right now. Because then I'll probably have to. You, of course, can rip it as long as your heart desires. But we're going to see the F1 movie this afternoon.
Oh, nice.
So 3:30 local time.
Yeah, I'm good for this one, maybe one more. We'll see. It's my week to put together the Hometown Ghost Stories episode. And actually, when we're off air, I want to tell you about part of it because I think you'll find it fascinating.
Oh, great.
Influencer 101,
Wonderful. But you're next to Shuby, so good fucking luck getting anybody that you like.
Yep, I am ready. Let's draft. Do you have dunks by you or no?
No.
That's too bad. These guava lemonade refreshers are amazing.
Ooh, that sounds good.
Yeah,
that sounds good. Especially, it's a little bit cooler today, but it's been so goddamn hot. Those drinks all sound like incredible.
Yeah, I buy it and I throw it in the freezer for 5 minutes and then I drink it. That is
interesting.
That is the rule. The other thing I bought recently that I just will probably only buy one more this year. I bought a hot fudge sundae ice cream like a week ago. Do you want to know how much it cost me for one hot fudge sundae?
Like you went to an ice cream shop, like an actual, and got a hot fudge sundae?
Yeah.
$12.
That's a hell of a guess. It was technically 12, but with the tip I gave 13, and I was like, I just paid $13
for vanilla ice cream with hot fudge.
Yeah, for chocolate ice cream.
How much?
Hot fudge. It's a
cost
whipped cream.
them $1 or whatever.
I was like, what is happening? Oh man, wild. I was like, I can't do this.
That's hilarious.
I'll rip a bazillion best ball drafts, but you charge me $13 for my ice cream.
We went and got
I see heaven.
We went and got ice cream last weekend from I would say probably the best in St. Louis. St. Louis ice cream is like around the city is okay. There's actually some better stuff near me in the burbs, but
always better in the burbs.
Yeah, city folk don't understand how to make high quality ice cream, I guess is what I learned. But there is one. It's called Clementine's, and we went to the St. Louis Vintage Fest, which was very cool. It was just way too fucking hot. It's outside at a brewery, and it was just absolutely way too hot. But it was really cool. Like a shit ton of just like that's my thing, right? Like old throwback jerseys and shirts from like when we were kids and even before when we were kids. But it was just way too hot. But we went and got ice cream afterwards, and I think we both got pints of like really good and like fun flavors or whatever. And they were both less than your fucking
just geez, man. I remember going there because I've been where I live now for like, I mean, I've lived in and out of this town my whole life, but where I live now, I've been here for like 9 years. And I think when I went there the first year, it was like $7 for a fudge sundae.
It's crazy.
It's wild.
Fucking tariffs on ice cream nowadays, I guess.
Have you started getting your list? I don't want to know any of the albums.
I got more. I'm saving for probably tomorrow. Gonna relax a little bit and just listen to some music and go back. But I mean, I've clearly once it was floated out there that we were gonna name our favorite hip hop albums. It's harder than I expected because at least for me, most of my artists like. None of that. It's not that the albums are bad. I definitely like a lot of their albums, but none of the albums specifically stand out. It's kind of like you're a sports fan who just likes athletes as opposed to a team. Like that's how I felt about like I go like this is a surprise to no one. I've mentioned this a bunch of times, but like Lil Wayne is my favorite. Right? Lil Wayne and Eminem probably my co-favorite rappers ever. And this is what I want to do here. I like all their albums. None of them are just like, is this the greatest album? Top 5 greatest album? I'm unsure. So I haven't figured out exactly how. If I'm gonna do like MVP voting, right? Like Jason Tatum deserves the MVP because he's the best player on the Boston Celtics, even though he's not the actual most valuable player. Or if I'm gonna do, my actual, I haven't decided my process yet.
Yeah, I've been back and forth on that particularly. And I've gone through and listened to a lot of stuff again this week, and the last 2 spots are hard for sure for me right now, is what I will say. So when I get Chase here and I see that Bucky Irving is getting drafted 29% of the time with him, I've done it, but I just
no thank you.
Let me scroll down a little bit.
Yep.
And find some guys. Oh, look, the quarterbacks are. So I'll take another Josh Allen team because he's only getting drafted 2% of the time with them. Ooh, don't push the button. and then I'll just pull Ted up, I think. Ted's getting drafted with him 2% of the time. He's 5% with Josh Allen. I know I'm giving up some projections on this, but we can see with the guys on the edges here, they're so concentrated on who they get drafted with.
Yep.
So
I think it's fine. I think T-Mac is fine. I definitely think Allen is fine. But again, it's kind of like what I've talked about with when I take Gibbs, the kinds of wide receivers I want to do, the kind of guys you also want to pull up in extreme ways, right? Like on the turns. I don't want to just do anybody just because they're lower owned with the guy. It's like, oh, the rookie wide receiver who was drafted in the top 10 who has fucking Adam Thielen and Xavier Legette as target competition, right? Like, clearly that, right? We just saw what, I'm not saying he's Malik Neighbors. He's not. But I'm just saying we see young wide receivers go nuts all the time. Josh Allen, if Josh Allen goes full Josh Allen for a whole season, who gives a shit, right? Whether you got him at 36 or 24, it doesn't matter. But again, I'm sorry, Terry. You were so good to us last year. I really hate doing this constantly. But Terry McLaurin is just so bleh. It's I don't really care what his ownership is. With certain guys, if I get him at a nice fall and it's a perk that it's a feather in his cap that he's lower owned with this. But I'm not forcing a guy like that to do it. If I'm gonna pull guys up, I want the nuclear upside. Yeah,
that makes a ton of sense. I was just looking at how Worthy has not been drafted with Jamar Chase. That's an interesting one to try to make work because you're really reaching down to bring that one up. But perhaps. I did one. God, what did I do? I did a Brian Thomas Jr., Marvin Harrison, Breece Hall team, I think. And it just feels normal, right? Just seems like and it was the only one that's been drafted in the tournament so far.
That's my favorite when you accomplish that.
It's just because if you say that to anyone, they're like, yeah, that seems normal.
That's the best. And you say, yeah, these awesome second-year players, one of which we were drafting at the 1-2 turn last year anyway, and people are like, oh, yep, okay, sounds good, right? Sounds like a totally normal start. And you're like, yeah, well, guess what? There's 100,000 teams this tournament, and I'm the only fucking one that has that start. That seems good.
Yeah, and again, it doesn't mean you're gonna win because of it. It just gives you leverage.
And guess who the fuck it is who did the second one of that team?
Yep.
That's so funny. But yes, Zeus mentioned this earlier. This is triggering the ever-loving shit out of me. The fact that they don't have to tell you about player injuries in the offseason is really frustrating. Noah Brown went down, got carted off. It seemed serious. And then he got an MRI 2 weeks ago. They know what's wrong with Noah Brown, if anything. And I know that sounds really, really stupid, but everybody know there's not that many options with Jaden Daniels. And if there is a useful guy in the last round, like Diami was last year, like fucking Zacchaeus, if you drafted Zacchaeus in the last round, right? Like, if there's a useful player back there, it would be really nice to know. Like, can I draft Luke McCaffrey? Can I draft whatever, Jalen Lane? Can I draft one of those guys? It would be great to know, but they're just sitting on this Noah Brown news, and it's really frustrating.
Yeah, we would like some update on that. The question for me
is... Look at this. JSN at 41?
Ooh.
I'm gonna have to
Neighbors, McBride, Lamar, JSN is a really fun start.
That's super fun. I mean, I pulled up McBride to... I know it's possible McBride has fallen to 32 there, but I specifically was thinking about one of the elite quarterbacks, right? To kind of swap some things around, because I know that obviously no one's taking Allen or Lamar on a Neighbors team at 17 overall. And so then to get the JSN fall, it's like, well, I made up for, if you're worried about ADP value, we fucking made up for the McBride reach in one pick with JSN falling.
Question in the chat is, are the percentages I'm talking about my drafts or the field? So I get both. But what I'm looking at is what we're projecting the field to do. That's how I'm evaluating for my unique combos. I can see what I have of each person, but like when I say these last 2 percentage numbers, that shows that player's projection with my first or second round pick that I have for this draft. So it's going to show what the percentage is with Jamar Chase and Josh Allen for all of these players going forward. And you'll see them smooth out a lot more as we get further down the draft. Because things just become, very different at that point in time.
Guys move in ADP, guys go in wider range, right? The range of outcomes on players as you slide down the board is crazier. It just doesn't matter after a certain point, but that's why the first few rounds are so impactful.
So I'm going to grab Devonta Smith now, who is only being drafted 2% of the time with Josh Allen. Not even the reason I'm doing it, but it's just like an added caveat for getting him. And then I will grab Omarion Hampton, because even though he's getting drafted 16% of the time with Jamar Chase, it's only 4% with Josh Allen. And I've already created that leverage of the Jamar Chase team by getting Josh Allen and Ted McMillan. So if it is high percentages with Jamar Chase going forward, we've already created that leverage of being different.
Yep, you're good. You're good to go. And Devontae Smith and Omarion Hampton are fucking awesome picks at the 4 or 5 turn.
Yeah, absolutely. So
it's kind of crazy. Like Devontae Smith, if we wanted to do a talent per dollar, like if there was a salary on these guys, like a talent per ADP, like Devontae Smith is near the top of the list.
Yep.
It's like they just don't throw, and then AJ Brown is also so fucking good. Like, does anybody remember what Devontae Smith did to win the fucking Heisman? He didn't play corner to help him win the Heisman as a wide receiver. He only played wide receiver and had one of the greatest, if not the greatest, college receiver season in the history of football, and has been amazing in the NFL. Like, been awesome. It's just he's plays second fiddle to one of the 3 best wide receivers on the planet.
Yeah,
whatever.
And he shows flashes every year.
Oh, he's awesome.
Of just how great he is. Like, he's so much fun when he gets those games. I love it. I mean, obviously I'm slightly biased because I do root for the Eagles on some level, but it's just it's fun to get him in the 4th or 5th round in most of these drafts. I am way overweight on him.
He was a fucking 2nd round pick last year.
Yeah. Just overreaction to what the team was last year.
Yep.
I love it.
And I'm not saying he should be, right? I'm not saying, like, it's fair to react and say, okay, maybe 2nd round we were a little aggressive, but like the 5th, like next to a guy who might play corner in the NFL, like, next to Calvin Ridley, Waddle has significantly more concerns in terms of the guy who the wide receiver 2, air quotes, who got propped up to the 2nd round last year. Like, there's a lot more concerning things, which the only concerning thing with Devontae Smith is, will the Eagles pass? Like, that's like not even a fucking concern. Like, the real concern is like, how good actually is Jalen Waddle? Is Tua one hit away from his career being over? Is the offensive line terrible? Is Mike McDaniel a fraud, right? Like, there's like an endless list. Even though I don't hate Jalen Waddle, he has a bunch of real risk. And we just lump them together, and it's like Devontae Smith is a significantly different and better bet than Jalen Waddle is.
I just think he's a tier break for me. And I'm still drafting that next tier of wide receivers. But if I can get Devonta Smith over the guys that are going after him, I think my lucky stars almost every time.
Agreed. Shout out Benny. Yeah, I mean the Waddle floor is fucking terrifying.
Yeah,
there's real upside. I like the Dolphins overall. To bet on to swing for the fences on the Dolphins offense as a bounce back, but it's scary.
Yeah, and I'm leveraging Waddle against Tyreek this year a little bit, so I have overweight stance on Waddle. But it's not my most comfortable overweight stance by any means. Probably one of the lower ones.
Kamara was on the board there for me, also around after ADP, similar to what you did. But I could not subject everyone to 2 Kamara clicks within an hour on the Spike Week YouTube channel. So we went for a much more fun Travion Henderson and let the Generals, our good friend the Generals, soak up the sweet Kamara value, which frankly he needed because he started with 5 wide receivers. So,
and we see the comments in chat referencing what the Eagles did last year versus what they could potentially be this year. So,
yep, definitely. That is on the list of aren't you worried? Of course, I am worried that the Eagles don't pass. But go back in every other season other than last year and tell me which one looks like the outlier, especially for, and it's so condensed. Devontae Smith was fine last year, for fantasy, for best ball at these prices. So that, I think that's the thing is okay, maybe they won't throw. Even if they don't, he's fine. You're not mad that he's on the team because he's still giving you big games. Devontae Smith is, because they only throw it to 2 guys, 2.5. Goddard gets the scraps. So they throw it 25 times, and 10 of them go to AJ Brown and 8 of them go to Devontae Smith. Okay, 8 targets is 8 targets. You know what I mean? They're probably efficient targets. The floor is just everything is just more than baked in at the Devontae Smith price. All the risks, all the aren't you worried? Aren't you worried? Yes, don't care because he goes in the 5th round, right? The aren't you worried is oh, if he were going in the 2nd, right, or the 3rd, that, T. Higgins, JSN, Devontae Adams, if he was going around those guys, sure, but he goes next to Travis Hunter and Calvin Ridley, and Jalen Waddle,
and it's baked into the AJ Brown price, I would say, as well,
for sure.
Hard for me not to click him as much as I want to click him. So,
Jonathan says Devontae had a 16% nuclear week percentage and a 40% spike week percentage. 40. So in almost 50% of his games, he was spiking when they didn't throw. Yeah, right. I'm cool. Sign me up.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I feel like we just I know we say that they were good, but people overlooked all year how great that Eagles defense was.
So good.
It was one of the best defenses we've seen in years.
So good.
And people were just overlooking it. I was even talking to a friend that's prevalent in the fantasy space before the Super Bowl, and he was like, the Eagles just feel like bad vibes. I'm like, it's not bad vibes. I'm like, the year before his Eagles team was bad vibes. This year, the defense is just too good.
Mm-hmm.
You just feel like it's bad vibes because the offense isn't putting up points. But guess what they did in the Super Bowl? They dropped the ankle weights, right? They were just go out there, score a bunch of touchdowns, and then we'll just absolutely destroy the Chiefs on the defensive end. So
see, and that's another thing that's a potential out is, okay, maybe let's not run Saquon into the ground, again this year. Mm-hmm. Let's open it up a little bit in the first half, just a little more. No one's expecting them to be a heavy pass rate team no matter what. That's fine because it's so condensed. Who cares? But open it up a little bit and then let the big dogs eat on defense. right? And then let Saquon and Shipley and fucking AJ Dillon or whatever grind it out in the second half. Like, let's open it up a little bit. Score 24 in the first half by throwing it around, and then let our killer defense and killer pass rush go to town in the second half.
Yeah. I mean, I'm excited to see what that offense does this year. I think we're gonna get some really good games out of them.
Yeah. Dude, I hate this range so much.
Yeah.
Pacheco, B-Rob, Kelsey, Baker. So, like, when you don't have outs to the quarterbacks, it's really gross. Kelsey, Michael Pittman, Jalen Warren. Like, I like Jordan Mason, but I got fucking 30% Jordan Mason. I guess I could have done Kyler, but I already have Lamar. I'm not trying to spend another pick. Like, Ayuk. It's rough.
Round 8 is like the mostly remember when they were a good round.
It is. Michael Pittman, Pacheco, yep.
Cooper
Jalen
Kupp.
Warren. Remember when Jalen Warren is the greatest 0 RB target of all time? Now we're just like fancy Samaje P. Ryan is what we viewed Jalen Warren as.
Yeah, this is gonna be a tough round for me as well.
You just got to pull guys up, I think. But this is also why the red wedding happens from rounds 8 to 10.
What a great name.
Rename the quarterback window the red wedding, because it's
what we're using.
It's all quarterbacks, because you show me what other guy you want to fucking click in this range. Like Najee, like, come on.
I'll just grab Charbonnet, who I have not drafted with Jamar yet. So
I do like Sharps.
That's what we'll do. I'll stack Keon. I'll grab Charbonnet, and we will have to figure this running back thing out together.
I have a little more Keon than I would have expected because of what we're just talking about here. I get to that range, maybe I do a little bit. I do our Hawkeye build that we talked about the other day on stream, or sandwich build, whatever we want to call it, right? Where I do take some running backs before round 7, maybe even 3 or something like that. And then I get here and I'm just like, well, at least I can tell myself about the Keon upside. It's like, it's probably not going to fucking happen, but I can see the story where it does.
While we're talking and drafting this particular song, we need to name after a player. I haven't named the song yet, so.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. What's funny is our next 2 songs that we're going to listen to are Jamar Chase and Malik Neighbors, the 2 guys that we drafted in the first round of this draft. But if you think of a player, no, I like the Red Wedding. The Red Wedding works.
Yeah, I like the Red Wedding. That was totally unplanned, but
I also made a Red Wedding joke to Jenks's picture of all the ketchup he put on a hot dog in Discord.
Dude, the food channel is elite. Yeah, and I make fun of ketchup. It's whatever. I don't care. It's not like I never ever use ketchup. It's just one of my least favorite condiments. But like the food channel, if you're in the Discord and you have premium access, you got to check out the food channel, because there's actual really good food that constantly gets posted in there, and it's awesome. It's great for inspiration. It's also great to see like a lot of like talented people and just the food that they may be getting from around their place. But then every once in a while, someone like a Josh Jenkins will drop in there with the most disgusting fucking food picture you've ever seen in your life. Like, I think there was a hot dog on a bun underneath about fucking 48 ounces of ketchup. That is just so gross.
They didn't even squirt it. They just took the white cap off and just
took a fucking sledgehammer to the ketchup, and it just splattered all over these hot dogs. And I'm just like, A, who in their right mind would do that? That's a disturbing meal. And B, who would post it to their internet friends and be like, look at my lunch? Like, that is serial killer level stuff. Like, look at this hot dog with a pound of ketchup on top of it. That's crazy.
All right. Did you think of anyone for that song?
No, I got rattled. I rattled myself mostly, but I got rattled.
We'll move on to the Jamar Chase.
Yes, please. Well, back to Trey Harris.
Sometimes you got to play the hits.
Got to play the hits. I'm going to need a quarterback too anyway, and we'll see what's going on with Herbert. I'm down to, air quotes, I'm down to 7% Herbert on drafters, but there was a while where it was a lot higher than that, so maybe I need to double back a little bit. I only have him
20%.
I don't have him with Ken Walker, and I don't have him. Yeah, he's such a good pick, man. 7%. 7% is Matthew McConaughey, Wolf of Wall Street scene.
Yeah.
Rookie numbers.
Yeah. I just like he's the back end of the Red Wedding. He's the guy that escapes.
Yeah. He escapes because his coach is so obsessed with him. He fucking shields him and sneaks him out the back door or whatever. Like Harbaugh, no one, and I mean this sincerely, no one loves Justin Herbert like Jim Harbaugh. Holy shit. Like, Justin Herbert's parents are like probably borderline concerned for his well-being because like it's almost psychotic in terms of how much this dude loves Justin Herbert.
I'm just gonna do it. I love Ramondre in this range when I'm looking for an RB.
I like Ramondre.
Just, I mean, obviously we like Travion, right? But we know Stevenson's gonna get work, and there isn't another running back on that team. It's those two guys.
Well, Antonio Gibson.
Oh, okay. Are we going to talk about Antonio Gibson?
I'd rather not. Remember second round Antonio Gibson?
Oh my God!
The next
he was a wide receiver.
the next Christian McCaffrey.
Was that BBM 2?
2, yeah, 2. Ron Rivera was the head coach of Washington, and he did it to us. He did we didn't have to force the meme for engagement farming like we did with like fat Debo being fat and all that stuff. Like, it was fed to us on a fucking platter. They literally said he's our version of Christian McCaffrey, and that's all you had to tell us about the play. We were already excited for the talent that is Antonio Gibson, and then the projectable volume guys liked him too because it was like him and McKissick and nobody else. Yeah. And so once they comped him to the second coming of Marshall Faulk, we were like, oh baby, 1-2 turn Antonio Gibson, come on down. I think I'm actually going to push. I just said I need to get more Herbert, but I'm also trying to get more Tahj.
You blew it. You blew it.
It's all right. I got options.
So real quick, I know you're probably not up to date on wrestling, and I just sort of watch it through clips right now. Did you catch what CM Punk did last night?
No, I'm not following modern wrestling. I have to draw a line somewhere on the absurd amount of sports/entertainment that I consume.
So we're getting the last ever CM Punk John Cena match today, I think.
Oh, it's today?
I think it's today, and then maybe it's next. Yeah, it's today, I think. And then last night on SmackDown, while Cena was in the ring, his old theme song started playing, the Thugonomics one.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And CM Punk came out dressed like old school John Cena,
with the baggy jeans,
with
jean
shorts. He had a Chicago Cubs jersey on. He had the chain with the lock. And
that's hilarious.
He cut a rap promo on John Cena.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Those are dark times when Cena had to become a thing with the rapping and in the post Austin, post Rock, post all of the greatest legends, the Mount Rushmores, if you will, of wrestling, and I know it all turned out well, and props to John Cena, whatever. But it was like, this big tough white dude is a rapper. It was an interesting transitional time.
It was fine for a bit, but they probably went too long.
Almost got him to fall.
Yeah, you knew you weren't getting them.
Now, I do? Oh yeah, Love Golden. That's fine. See, we had outs.
I was hoping Love fell back to me. which I knew wasn't happening.
I knew I took Matthew Golden for a reason. I couldn't remember what it was because I don't really love him. But
because he's the second wide receiver on the Green Bay Packers, which is fine.
Oh, yes. Romeo Dobbs has something to say about that as well. Just ask him.
I thought if anyone was going to get traded this offseason, I thought they would have moved on from.
Well, they can't play Wicks. They got to keep Dobbs because they just can't do the Wicks. The guy's going to get murdered in the parking lot after the game one of these days if he keeps dropping the ball. They take their ball very serious up there in Green Bay.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. What am I going to do here? Kincaid did go. I don't think I need to go there. Let's stack Bryce with Tet. And let's go Likely for our second tight end.
I do enjoy some Isaiah Likely.
Yeah, I just think he's due. Like, I think he's getting that traditional tight end.
Like, they're still going to play both the guys, but Likely just kind of starts to take over more of it. You know what I mean? Like, he's been kind of the 1B. He's the 1B last year. He was the 2 before, and then he got up to be the 1B last year, and now he becomes the 1A this year because he's just better than Mark Andrews.
Would it? So I know Zay Flowers is there. I'm not saying it's the most likely outcome, but if we ended the year and we said that Andrews and Likely had the most receptions on the team, would you be completely shocked?
No.
Yeah. And that's kind of how I'm playing it. Like, I still take Andrews. I take Likely. I'll take both of them together on a Lamar team. And I'm just kind of fine with it. Like, I just think that when you're a smart head coach and offensive coordinator, you build your offense around your best players.
Yep.
And you rotate around, like alternate that. You see it with running backs. You've seen it with tight ends in the past. You saw the Patriots do it when they had 2 of the best tight ends in the league.
Mm-hmm.
Everything ran through them. And I just don't see why. I take Flowers, but like I prefer to play it through those 2 more so than anyone else on the team.
I like taking them both on a Lamar team.
Yeah,
Andrews and Likely. If you would like to cover your bye, it's fine. Take your Gesicki or Theo Johnson or whoever. Who was it that last night we were talking a little bit about the Chargers because everybody's excited about the Chargers. At least everybody in our little bubble in the Discord. And I think it was shout out Rodney, who Rodney will forever be in the Spike Week Hall of Fame for breaking us of our Tez and Rasheen Ali curse last year by getting the goods at Ravens camp. But everybody's air quotes concerned about Najee as it relates to Amari and Hampton. But I was kind of making that exact case like you were just making for Isaiah Likely, is like, particularly good football coaches. Like, I'm not talking about Arthur Smith. I'm not talking about these slappies. Hell yes, Algier comes back. Man, this room is interesting, as Terrence said. Some value that you don't see all the time. But anyway, when Rob takes fucking T-Mac 25th overall, everybody started feeling spicy in this room. But with Hampton, I'm just like, look, I get it. Najee has been a volume hog for his career. But if Amari and Hampton, the 22nd overall pick in the NFL draft, if this first round running back is good, you don't think the Chargers are just going to play him? Because like Najee is just a guy that you want guys like Najee on your team as depth pieces because they're reliable. He has never gotten injured. He can come in and in a pinch, he can do it all. Right, he can play on passing downs. He can play goal line. He's shouldered that burden before. But if Amari Hampton is just like significantly better than Najee Harris, they're not giving Najee like 18 touches to Amari Ham. You know, it's like Tyler Algier is really good. Tyler Algier is better than Najee Harris. And guess what? They just play Bijan a whole lot more than Tyler Algier because Bijan is their best. Like, teams just play, competent coaches play their best players, and they find a way, right? That's the likely thing. Like, we'll find a fucking way to get Isaiah Likely on the field. Mark Andrews is not a deterrent. Our brains and our concepts of football are the deterrent. Like, fucking figure it out. Get your best players on the court, on the floor, on the field. We're in NBA mode here.
Really wanted Rico Dowdle on this team.
Yeah, you remember the open? Not just Shuby says Likely was a 2024 September league winner, not just a September 2024 league winner, not just a week 1 league winner. He was a game 1. He was a fucking quarter 1 of the NFL season league winner. Everybody is so obsessed with getting out the takes. You know, once the season comes around, everybody was fighting each other to get the spiciest Mark Andrews, Isaiah Likely take out there fucking 6 minutes into the 2024 NFL season, because he was out there and Andrews was not. If you remember, Likely was playing the first quarter of Thursday night football, and everybody's like, see, Andrews was hurt, it's over. Isaiah Likely, if you don't have Isaiah Likely on your team, fucking throw those in the garbage, you know. And it was like, he was a good pick, but like, it wasn't fucking over if you didn't have Isaiah Likely. And Mark Andrews was quite fine, actually, to have on your best ball teams last year. Maybe not at cost, but you know what I mean? It was like, holy shit. Like, everybody was just foaming at the mouth to get the hot Isaiah Likely takes out there. And it turns out that the first quarter of the first game of the entire season is not where best ball tournaments are decided, believe it or not.
Yeah, but it's also where some people bring their takes for the following year, because I think that the first quarter to half of the season is why we see the depressed value on a lot of the late elite tight ends, because it was such a heavy talking point that I think it was like ingrained in people's mind that elite tight end was bad when it just really wasn't as bad as we're making it out to be overall. So
Kittle and Bowers were fucking awesome, and we were screaming from the mountaintops that they were elite last year. And Trey McBride, right? The guys who we all said were fucking elite were elite as shit. Like, they were awesome. And but because it wasn't Laporta or Andrews or Kincaid, just because the market was stupid about how they ordered them, doesn't mean that elite tight end was bad. It was awesome. We just ordered them wrong.
Yeah. Shout out to Ryan in the chat who used our drafters deposit bonus.
Awesome.
And if you get through enough drafts by June 30th, you can even add some free teams on there and just.
It's if you just do 10, which is if you deposited $100, right?
Yep.
With code Spike. Oh shit. Sorry. I'm gonna do Diami, but Justice Hill is also near the top of the queue, and I really like Justice Hill on Lamar teams for the pass catch. But anyway, if you deposit 100, they give you another 100. That's 10 teams. So that would get you to your 10. Then they'll give you 2 more. So you spend $100 and you basically get $140 for free on drafters. That's pretty sick. I didn't even honestly think about that. That's an incredible deal.
Yeah, if you haven't signed up for drafters, this is the time to do it, and then fire those 10 teams. Get yourself 7 free teams.
That's crazy.
7 free teams just by drafting, 12 of them. Wild.
Yeah, draft 5, get 7.
Yeah.
that's nuts, dude.
Yeah. I want to take advantage of that deal.
Ryan says I'll draft quickly tomorrow. They're filling. It's easy. Yeah. They're filling really fast. This is hilarious. In quotes, Berg says, elite tight end was bad. Just don't ask about round 5 Rashad White. You got to take running backs earlier, guys. You can't take the tight ends. You can't take George Kittle. We got to take Rashad White because projectable volume.
Drafters
is definitely for the people. They do a lot. I know we're plugging them and stuff here in the milestones that they're doing now through the end of June. But like I said, they do a great job of, if you run into an issue, right? So beyond just like giving away free tickets and free money, which is amazing, they'll respond very. You have an issue with the draft, the app isn't working, you auto something, they'll refund you like immediately. Go to their Discord, reach out, tag them on Twitter, whatever. They'll help you out. They do a really, really good job.
And they take their game integrity very seriously.
Yes, they do. Rob and I don't honestly participate all that much because I'm not big into like doing a lot of policing myself. But I can tell you, and Rob can tell you, they are very active in monitoring the drafts, and they've even got people to help, true best ball players to help out when they even might have some questions about like, what do you think about this type of a team? So they're doing a really good job. Damn it. This is why you take justice, but I just can't fucking pass on Diami.
Yeah, but Tahj is creeping up, but I do like Tahj Brooks.
Me too. It's annoying also because they gave him some nice hype recently. Shout out Coach Speak Index for anybody out there if you want the best resource to get every droplet of Coach Speak that's out there to get the specific quotes, but then to also help you with which coaches you can actually listen to that aren't going to bullshit you. There's nothing better than Coach Speak Index for that. And they came out and said, I'll screw up the exact quote, but Chase Brown looks good. We're excited about him. We couldn't be more excited, which this will blow your mind. Couldn't be more excited to have Samaje Perine back, is basically what they said. But it's because they trust him right in the receiving game to come in and do what Samaje Perine does, right? The Dario Gumbawale, the Samaje Perine, the whatever, the fucking nuisance of a player who's actually useless for us, but hurts his teammates. But then they went on to really hype up Tahj Brooks, and I believe they said specifically Tahj Brooks has looked awesome, excellent, like different words like that. They said, there's, as with any rookie, there's been a couple of little rookie things here and there, but they were like really pounding the table for how good Tahj Brooks was, and notably mentioned him before Zach Moss and any other running back on the roster. And Zach Moss was only mentioned and then after those three, meaning Brown, Perine, and Brooks, it's going to be something Moss or some of the other guys. So like Moss is not even a lock to make the team, and he seems very clearly behind Tahj Brooks, which I think is a very big deal for Tahj Brooks for our purposes.
Yeah, and I think that we could have been. So I was taking Tahj Brooks not because of any of the coach hype, which I love now and everything. But do we remember the injury that Zach Moss had last year?
His neck
injury, man. Like, what do we think Zach Moss is going to do this year? My assumption is nothing. And it's not like he was an amazing talent to begin with for what he does. So
he was an even shittier version of Najee. He was the Najee archetype, right? Boring, but the teams just trust those guys.
Right. So I don't trust them with a neck injury now, and I think they showed you that by bringing back Samaje Perine, and I think that this is exactly sort of what they want, and I just think Zach Moss was always going to be the odd man out. Maybe I'm proven wrong on that in the future, but I don't think so.
It also helps that we, at least us here, we love Tahj Brooks, like the football player and the prospect. I think it was silly that he went in the 6th round. Like Woody Marks and Jaden Blue and Trevor Etienne and all these fucking slapdicks went ahead of Tahj Brooks. That's nonsense. I think the Bengals got it just like they did with Chase Brown in the 5th, right? A few years ago, they selected Chase Brown in the 5th round. This year, they selected Tahj Brooks in the 6th round. I think the NFL keeps handing them really good backs at way too cheap of prices in the NFL. And I think Tahj is going to be good if he gets an opportunity.
Speaking of guys who had quotes, Deontay Johnson this week.
I missed it. What did they say about Deontay?
No, his exact quote. You didn't see Deontay? Oh,
no, what did he say?
Let me find it because it is.
I think I've probably just totally tuned out anything Deontay Johnson related after last season. Oh my god!
Here it is.
Does he have CTE?
I think so.
Antonio Brown?
You're gonna think so after you hear this.
Oh god!
This is based on what happened with the Ravens. I wasn't getting into no run plays, no passing plays, or nothing. It was cold, Johnson said. End of the third, going into the fourth, they were like, Tay, we need you. I was like, nah, I don't think it's a good idea for me. Like, my legs are already ice cold, and I didn't want to go out there and put bad stuff on film. It's not like I didn't want to go into the game, but leading up to this point, I had been through so much. I told them I'm not fitting to go in. I just sat on the bench, and that's when they suspended me. Well, yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Can't draft that guy. Like,
and
he's in Cleveland now.
Yeah.
What a great match. That's going to go great.
He's going to get cut, isn't he? There's no way. They're in the midst of a rebuild. Just play whoever else. Like, don't waste. Because nobody's trading for. It's one thing, I have no problem with this, right? Like air quotes tanking team. It's like in other sports more so than in football. You'll take on a guy hoping to trade him, right? It happens a lot more in baseball and in basketball. Like, is anyone trading for Deontay? Like, even if he balls out after what he just did to the Ravens, why would anyone ever trade? Because he was balling out for Carolina, and then he went to Baltimore, and they cut him 2 weeks later because he's a piece of shit. Why? You're not going to get anything for him. There's no sense in keeping that dude on your roster, I don't think.
Yeah, he was on 3 teams last year.
It's crazy,
right? I mean, I think he was Houston, right? They just claimed him to block him. I think from going anywhere.
They blocked him from going. Yeah.
So, yeah, it just blows my mind that
how much money do you think Deontay cost himself?
Oh, millions, right?
Tens of millions, right?
Yeah.
Because for sure another contract. Like, if he didn't expose himself as this piece of shit after he was gone from Carolina, somebody was going to give him a deal. He was a fine football player, like not special, but he's an NFL starting wide receiver.
Yeah, and it shows you, like, if they were willing to trade him at that point, other stuff was going on in Carolina probably, and to do that to a contender like the Ravens, like, who wants to touch that guy? Right. It's just like red flag after red flag after red flag. So of course he winds up in Cleveland, and then Cleveland's going to tell him they want nothing to do with him, and then where do you go from there?
Yeah,
right.
The Mad Bowler thinks sadly he might be the starting slot. It's possible, but they seem to like Jamari Thrash also, and they definitely like Harold Fannin. So Jerry Jeudy can also play the slot. I think Jerry Jeudy is best in the slot. So I think they have the flexibility. I mean, we're talking about one of the worst teams in the NFL here, but I think they have the flexibility if they don't want to keep Deontay.
So Eric went with Neighbors, McBride, Lamar, JSN, Ken Walker, Travion Henderson. Love that pairing of the running backs. Golden, Pacheco, Bateman, Harris, Tajay Spears, Jordan Love, Dobbs, Algier, Jasecki, Diami, Tahj Brooks, Rashad Smith, Willie Marks, and Delon Valier. Oh, we both took Denver wide receivers in the last round. I went Jamar Chase, Josh Allen, Tet McMillan, Devonta Smith, Omarion Hampton, Laporta, Jaden Reed, Keon Coleman, Charbonnet, Dobbins, Stevenson, Bryce Young, Isaiah Likely, Will Shipley, Alec Pierce, DJ Giddens, Coker for the stack, which I have not drafted much of him, but I just felt like it was fine. Devin Neal. If you have to start justifying it, it's a bad pick. Devin Neal, Jalen Royals, and
I hate
Troy
this guy,
Franklin.
But
So that is our second draft there.
I hate this guy, but at least he's not a New Orleans Saint. You know what I mean?
Yeah. At least he's not on the worst team. Right. Third worst team, maybe.
Are you gonna do one more? Because I got to get out of here.
No, let's end it.
Shut her down.
Yeah, I need to grab some lunch, I think.
It's a ton of fun. Thank you guys for hanging out with us using your Saturday. I am off to go watch Brad Pitt. We're going to go watch Brad Pitt get in a Formula One car. Rob will be back tomorrow morning for his typical Sunday Sickos draft stream, 10 a.m. Eastern. So a little bit earlier than this time, but get your coffee and pop in some drafts. I imagine he's going to be cranking out some more drafters teams to hit some of these milestones. And then we'll be back on Monday night doing some more best ball drafting and talking some of our favorite hip hop albums of all time. So check those out. And then Legendary Sickos back recording on Monday. Guys, have a wonderful weekend. Again, thank you. Hit the like button on your way out, and we'll see you next time. Peace.
Woo! Those were some spicy takes. Want to stay up to date with all of the other spicy takes we're going to have over here at Spike Week? Why don't you press that subscribe button below? You turn notifications on, we draft a team, boom, you know about it. We have another spicy take, boom, you know about it. You can be there, you can draft with us. You want to stay up to date? That's how you do it. All right, we'll catch you later next time here at Spike Week.